gotten hold of my heart, keeping my soul and my senses apart. Something has gotten into my life.
Have you ever danced with anybody?
Sorry?
Have you ever danced with anybody?
Yes.
What sort of dancing did you do?
Just depends on the music.
Welcome back to the Monolith Film Podcast. I'm Lee Byrne.
I am Nikhil.
I'm Joey Byrne.
And we have a special guest today.
Colin Farrell. Oh, wait.
I'm Colin Farrell from The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Welcome. Thank you, Colin. Thank you for joining us.
The special guest is actually Monica.
Hi, Monica. I'm the deer. Just kidding.
Good one.
We gotta cut out that
Yeah.
bit. Restart, guys. Bad bit. We have a special episode today. We're going through some films by Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, we're going to go through his last 4 films. Actually, I think Dogtooth may have come out before Alps.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so we're
yeah.
skipping Alps because we couldn't find it. But yeah, we're just going to do a whole episode on Yorgos.
Yeah, a little auteur study.
Yeah.
You guys, we all watched the same 4 flicks?
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to watch The Favorite a second time, but we have seen it already. So we might be a little rusty on our favorite
On our trivia.
on our trivia, yeah, but
Well, there's a test following the podcast. You guys better get ready.
Okay.
I watched it in reverse chronological,
okay.
and I think I enjoyed them more as I went back more.
Yeah, me too.
I think Dogtooth was my favorite out of them.
I like killing the most.
You like
so
killing
I don't know
the
why
most.
I said me too.
Hashtag me too.
No, you can't.
What was your guys' favorite then? Let's start there.
Probably The Favorite, just because it was like the funniest.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the most approachable.
Yeah, I would go with that one to like
Okay.
show anybody for somebody who's like
You
me,
didn't
who
like the
doesn't
incest?
enjoy. I mean, Dogtooth was more interesting than any of them because it was less of a thinker one. I found that it was just like
More of a stinker.
what the fuck. Versus, the Lobster, but I'm probably biased because Joey likes the Lobster.
Yeah, The Lobster is my favorite one.
Yeah.
One each. That's nice.
The favorite I found was the furthest from what I liked about the 3 other movies
Right.
originally, but I did like The Favorite too. But I don't know, there's something about those characters. It's like I want to watch more, you know?
I think The Favorite makes you the least uncomfortable though. Like not you necessarily, but like
Okay.
general public makes you the least like.
Yeah.
It's
But,
definitely the funniest, like you
Yeah.
said.
well, it's the most, I guess, overtly humorous one.
Right, yeah.
There's some like weird. It's just so. The other ones are just so weird that you can find some humor in it. I find.
Yeah.
For people who have not seen any of the films, Dogtooth is from 2009. It's about a family. The father isolates his family to protect them from the outside world. His parenting style is extremely bizarre. We'll get into it later, but that's pretty much the gist of that one.
Pretty well.
Lobster is dystopian, set in the near future. It is mandatory by law to be in a relationship. If you are out of a relationship, you're placed into a like dating hotel, where if you don't find a suitable match in a certain amount of time,
45 days or something.
45
like that.
days?
Something like that.
You get turned into the animal of your choosing. The Killing of a Sacred Deer is about a heart surgeon who kills a patient, and the patient's son kind of becomes like this weird obsessive stalker thing.
Yeah, bent on revenge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
I thought he had Asperger's.
They all do.
The Favorite is a 18th century kind of period piece about the Queen and her right hand woman slowly becomes replaced by a not so upper class broad who's trying to make it in the big city.
A younger, prettier version.
Right, yeah. But, of course, they're all Lanthimos films, so they're all a lot fucking weirder than they sound.
We have entered the section of the program where we read and discuss Letterboxd reviews.
We're going to start with Dogtooth. With half star. Half star is the lowest you can rate something on Letterboxd.
So this is a half-star review. Perfect.
Dogtooth. More like dog shit. I imagine the people who like this are dudes who are too ashamed to watch incest porn. Which is equally just
I
as
still watch
it. Which is equally just as fucking awful. And can hide their terribleness behind an artsy veneer. Not even worth writing anything serious.
What do you think, Mom?
Someone took it personally.
I think so. I think someone watches incest porn and got a little offended.
Artsy veneer, though? I mean, it's a good enough movie.
Yeah, I was reaching on that one.
Sounds like an overprotective brother that like never gets laid because he's a douchebag.
Stop kissing my dad's chest!
Yeah.
It's for me to kiss. Lick.
People are
Fucking
always
roast it.
fucking a sister.
Let's see if anyone loves this movie. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
Dog shit.
beautiful.
Okay.
The entire concept of this film is so fantastic to me. And the way it's shot with the grainy, cool tones throughout really match the airy feel of the film. To be completely unwillingly living in the unknown.
Okay.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
These
Listen
are
a
words
little
that don't make sense together.
To be completely unwillingly living in the unknown.
Okay.
The facade of freedom and free will. It seems ridiculous in the film when the kids believe that a cat is powerful enough to kill a man. But that's all they've ever been taught. They have no choice but indoctrination. Gorgeously executed, Yorgos, spell his name wrong, pulls this off so effortlessly, and it showcases such a haunting dichotomy of feeling uncomfortable and living in lies, yet finding a strange comfort in their naivete towards everything. Having never faced the real problems and issues in day-to-day life, the innocence that slowly drains as the film progresses.
It's a bit loaded, that. Is that the second review with facade in it, too? I like facade.
Yeah, I can't say that I agree with his reading or his viewing.
The haunting dichotomy of feeling uncomfortable and living in lies. Yet
Yeah.
finding a strange comfort in their naivete.
It's just a word salad.
Yeah, how is that a dichotomy?
It's a bit run on, too, though.
Yeah.
It's not.
I feel like I feel like
exclusive.
my biggest problem with this person's review at this point is their grammar.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
they're trying to say
There's
something.
just two run-on sentences combined together. Ridiculous. Listen, I was hooked on phonics, and I know. Throw a
I mean,
semicolon in there and drop dichotomy, and we're good.
the unwilling living in
The unknown.
the completely unwillingly living in the unknown.
yeah,
What does
that
that mean? Unwillingly living.
in the
They don't
unknown.
want
To be
live.
The completely.
completely unwillingly
unwillingly
living. So they don't want to live in the unknown, but they are completely doing it.
That's not
That's
what he
But I
means,
don't know
though,
if
is
that's
it?
what they
I
mean.
think-
Yeah.
Read it again.
To be completely unwillingly living in the unknown.
No, they are living in the unknown
Yeah, but they're
because they
doing
don't
it.
know anything about the outside world.
but not willingly.
But
Unwilling.
according to him, not willingly. Even though
because it's unknown.
because of the facade of freedom.
Wait
we're
a
not gonna.
second.
We're
there's
not
no,
gonna.
obviously there's no facade of
Bad
freedom.
review.
Bad, good
Bad
review.
review. Bad
We should
one.
have a segment on bad good reviews.
Oh man.
This is that segment.
They were trying.
Moving on to the lobster.
Yeah.
Low end reviews.
Okay.
Mm.
Let's try and find a good one here. There's a lot that just say like "what the fuck" or
Yeah.
like "this movie sucks."
Too cookie cutter of a bad review, though.
This
Right.
movie sucks.
What was that
5
word
stars.
review? What do you?
Oh,
Suck my cock and ass.
Oh yeah, that was rubber. Yeah, that's like I saw a book review. It was like absolutely perfect. Wouldn't have changed a thing if I made it myself or anything. And then they rated it 4 out of 5 stars.
I would write a shit book too. Though. I wouldn't write a good book.
Absolutely perfect 4 out of 5.
was stupid.
Okay.
Fucking stupid.
Here's a seemingly fair review,
Okay.
but their score is half a star,
Oh.
and they dive pretty deep near the end. Okay.
Okay.
Like, okay, I guess the directing was good or whatever, but on the basis of enjoyment alone, no movie has ever made me want to take a bath with a toaster more.
This is the lobster he's talking about?
Yeah, this is the lobster he's talking about.
That's a good movie. That's enjoyable though. It's fun. There's jokes in it. It's
Different.
got big
There's
actors.
There's a lot going on
Yeah, it's
in the
interesting.
lobster.
There's a lot. Yeah.
English feature length. That should be enough not to kill yourself.
Laura cowboy hat emoji.
Listen to your Laura cowboy hat emoji.
All the rest of them are literally just like what, or boring, or weird, like just single words.
Was that the end of it?
Yeah, that was the whole review.
Oh, the bath with
Yeah.
the toaster. That's the end.
It's so
Just
strange that you could rate a movie weird and give it a bad review.
Yeah,
Or
half a star for
rate
being weird,
anything
fuck.
weird. Yeah.
what, you just want everything to be the same? Fucking idiot. I'm just deleting all my weird reviews. Alright, let's read a good one for Lobster. I was aggressively squinting at that last part with David pointing the knife into his eye. Is the dude's name David?
I guess so. Can't be Colin.
Just got lit the fuck. Colin, what do you have to say about that?
Pointing the knife into his eye. Because my brain does this absurd thing where it makes me think that any and all sharp objects on TV, be it moving or stationary, are about to break the fourth wall, blast through the screen, and stab me in the eye.
I eat spaghetti just like my dad.
That's a fucking hilarious part of
was
that
great,
movie. That's
yeah.
the best part of the
That
movie.
was really
That's
good.
fucking funny. Turns out everyone eats
This is
spaghetti
a lot.
like that. Yeah.
Needless to say,
Yeah.
needless to say, I was very disappointed.
Also,
That is a good fucking
was he actually going to do it?
movie.
In love with the ambiguity of it. On one hand, love conquers all, yeah? But then, on the other,
Yeah.
how will this be any different from when he pretended to be heartless?
Ooh.
See, we wrote that up. Also,
That's a good eye.
Rachel's hysterically deadpan delivery of "Oh my God, I'm so scared."
Yeah,
I think
she's
that's
narrating
good.
it.
Yeah. The
Right.
voiceover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, her
It is
narration
funny.
Her
is great.
narration is fucking funny.
Yeah. I had a dream where he fucked me in the ass. Rachel Weisz, you've come to meet Colin. Oh, wow.
Welcome, Rachel. Thank you for being with us. What do you think about ass fucking, Colin?
I think
My daughter has a social.
my daughter has a psychosomatic disorder.
She gets fucked up the ass.
They didn't have a hand sign for that, did they?
For getting fucked in the ass.
They had one for wanna fuck.
Yeah.
It was fist behind back.
Yeah. Left fist. Right
Left.
fist. Let's move on to the killing of a sacred deer.
Okay, let's do it.
I hate this movie.
Obviously.
I hate it.
Yeah.
From the first line of dialogue to the last note of the soundtrack, I was brimming with discomfort and anxiety to the point until I was seriously concerned for my physical health.
Okay.
I hate the directors for making it.
The directors with
yeah, there's
plural.
there's more than one.
Yeah.
Directors of photography.
Yorgos and
yeah,
Lanthimos.
exactly. I hate my roommate for forcing me to watch it despite my objections.
Okay, I feel like there's a lot of at-home problems that are came through for this review.
I hate myself for choosing to sit through it.
And we've gotten to the root of the problem.
My evening is ruined. Enjoy your half star.
Yeah.
I mean,
As if Yorgos is like, no, another half star.
Half star on Letterbox. Never making a movie again.
Laura Cowboy Hat said what?
I think for a movie to successfully incite such discomfort and anxiety that you are concerned for your physical health, it's got to be a pretty fucking good movie.
I
Like,
feel
objectively speaking.
yeah. Well, I mean, when I was studying fine arts in my critique classes,
Yeah.
they would say, if you think it's really bad to the point that you hate it, it's pretty good.
Right.
You know, any emotional reaction like
Yeah.
that is an accomplishment as far as an artist.
Yeah,
is
I think the worst thing art can do is make you feel indifferent.
Yeah.
for like the giving anxiety and stuff, there's a movie that I cannot watch. It's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, because that movie gives me so much anxiety, like I feel sick from it, and I never finished it.
So half star.
So I don't hate it.
It ruined my night.
So like I don't hate it, but I can't watch it. So like I know it's good, but
I mean, this person
I don't
sat
think that
through
it
the whole
would.
thing.
But that's it. So
To
if
the
you
very
really,
last note of soundtrack.
if you really felt that way, like I don't
Turn
think
it
he
off.
would have finished it.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave. But his roommate was forcing him.
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
Dude, there's two types of reviews on Letterboxd. There's like, I hate it, it sucks, or there's people who write like an entire fucking Bible about the movie.
Yeah.
There's never just like a quick, 1, 2, this is what's good, this is what's bad.
In summary, here's the entire script.
Yeah, that's it. Honestly, most of the big paragraph ones
Yeah.
are like complete synopsis
Yeah.
and then a short review. Moving on to some good ones.
All right.
Ooh, this is a short one. 5 stars.
Okay.
A metaphor of our relationship with God. Or how does this world work? 5 stars.
Wow, deep. How does this world work? You got that? Well, I guess you didn't hear about the ancient mythology story.
Yeah. I guess
Is the
not.
god he's talking about Apollo, though?
A metaphor of our relationship with God. Is the kid God? Who's God in this?
G-D.
What's the metaphor?
The one.
Big G.O.
No, I know.
Giovanni.
Like, he doesn't go to explain it, so, like,
Yeah, I mean,
where is, like, what's...
look, this is his review. Take it or leave it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you disagree? Well, I haven't said anything. What can you disagree with?
What was he saying? Relationship with God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it just mean like...
I wish... I'm going to read another one, because that one...
It was too short.
A really tense, stressful watch, but visually beautiful.
Yeah.
The use of language and stilted, restrained performances adds to the tension created by the soundscape and soundtrack. Barry Keoghan delivers a perfectly weighted performance, starting quirky but sweet, but growing into malevolence. I guess that's the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like him.
Every performance is excellent, but his stands out. The camera work is a delight and evokes Kubrick. Pacing is an issue,
I didn't wanna
possibly
say
because the
anything
tension is so high, you want the other foot to drop. But it doesn't stop this being a fantastic film.
Okay.
Fair enough. Oh, what do you want now, you little bugger?
What
Yeah,
does
maybe,
that have to do with this review? Stupid cat.
I am a big fan of the 3 actresses involved. But
Colin
this
Farrell.
film was awful.
Mm.
Plot-wise,
Preach.
well, there was none.
Okay. Well.
It's literally down to who does the queen like fingering her the most.
Okay.
Emma or Rachel?
How's that not a plot, though?
There's no actual story to tie together, despite the constant hint of a plot coming through.
I
The
don't know
only
if they know what plot means.
No, they're
No.
mixing up plot and story for sure.
Maybe, but even... Because that's the story, though. That is the story.
Yeah, I mean, the story is, like, the whole...
The last line there boils down to who does the queen prefer. The movie's called The Favorite. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Give me a break.
What do you want? That's the fucking plot, you idiot. Not to be rude.
The only good thing about this was Nicholas Hoult in his hideous makeup, playing a rather exuberant role. Fantastic stuff, but resigned to a deliberately background part that never gets the forefront of the main show.
Yeah, deliberately it was written
Yeah.
as a background character.
I, for one,
Yeah.
am upset that this deliberately background character
Okay.
never gets to be in the forefront.
Well.
I cannot see the reason behind this film's success.
This guy's directing a spin-off, for sure.
I am a
I was
big...
rating the least favorite in this house. With the favorite.
I am a big fan of Olivia C. since her days on Peep Show and have followed her career closely since then. So, whilst I am very pleased she won the Oscar, I cannot fathom why for this truly awful, boring turd of a movie,
Yeah.
which is basically mass-marketed softcore erotica with zero plot.
What movies do you watch?
And someone tell the director that there are more effects than just fisheye lens.
Okay. What movies do you watch
The
for
wide
this to be
angle
mass
too.
market? This is a mass market movie for you. What movies do you watch normally? It must be Yorgos' other movies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
And yet that's what he hated the most about it.
You know, big popular movies, Dogtooth. Big movies. Favorite movies are The Avengers and Dogtooth.
There's one comment on this person's review.
On the review, okay.
Yeah.
Suck my ass and go.
Do all films need a plot though? I'm not saying they do or don't, but I don't always find them necessary. I watched Serpico last night and found it to be much more about theme than plot, and I find the same thing here. Also, the Tree of Life, etc. Also, you're missing one of the most important characters. Horatio, the fastest duck in the city.
Scorpio!
Alright, bad comment. Bad review. but
Well, I mean, the comment,
I think he's just upset he didn't get to finger Olivia Colman.
it sounds like that too, actually.
Give me
Yeah.
that fucking
You-
gout foot, man. Give me that gout
He's
ridden
like, I've
foot.
been following her
Oh,
career very closely.
Yeah. 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Ooh.
The film beautifully captures the 18th century with a stunning costume and set design as well as terrific acting and script. It definitely excelled in the cinematography, especially the triple exposure shot at the end. I agree. I liked that a lot.
Mhm.
Also, the ending is just ellipses. Wow. Using bunnies as metaphorical dead children and how Emma Stone gained her position through poison, sexual favor, and that. Damn. This one's a banger.
An absolute banger.
I like
honestly.
that. That's
Yeah.
a good review.
We've read this person's reviews before.
Oh, yeah? This is a banger. Good reviews.
So good job, clerk.
This Victorian period piece is a banger, dude. I think Dogtooth might be the one that goes the furthest against his later aesthetic choices.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
his later stream of aesthetic choices. Where the newer movies, or the English movies at least, are all his other ones Greek?
Mhm.
Yeah. The Dogtooth, it's less wide angle, more shallow.
What I liked a lot about Dogtooth compared to the other ones, I find there's less and less to dissect narratively about his movies. So I find Dogtooth has the most subtlety going on to kind of pick apart on separate viewings. Not that they get less and less confusing, because I find Killing of the Sacred Deer probably has the most like straight up confusion in it.
Mm.
But I find there's the most to analyze
Okay.
in Dogtooth. And then Lobster has a little less, Killing has a little less, Favorite has a little less.
So they get like stripped a bit,
Yeah, I feel like he
minimalizes it.
shifts from like literary substance to
Stylistic.
to cinema. Like he becomes more and more of a cinematic director
Okay.
As he progresses. I
as he
think.
progresses.
I was thinking the opposite, though.
Mm.
Yeah, I think his stories get more narrative and dialogue based as they go, and less just visual.
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
Dogtooth, there's fuck all lines.
Yeah.
And they slowly get more as they go. And The Favorite is just pretty well normal movie. Normal movie with wide angles.
What'd you guys think of Dogtooth?
I liked it. Thought it was really interesting. A lot of shock value.
It's true.
If that's your thing. I don't know. It seems like he took the most liberties earlier on, but I say that, but I mean, there's a lot of weirdness in the later ones too. What I mean by that is in Dogtooth, there's like incest, and like they kill a cat, and I mean these kids are obviously like basically like brainwashed prisoners,
Kids are like late 20s though.
Yeah, they're way too
like
old.
28, 30s ish.
Yeah, and then in The Lobster.
I think the little Shutter biography helped the movie when I was watching it at least.
Yeah, what is
The
that?
little 2-line. Well, it kind of just says, "Oh, this guy keeps his family in here and does that." So I kind of knew 2 seconds in, okay, that's what's
Okay.
happening, kind of thing.
Yeah, because they don't.
Yeah, there was no real straightforward or explicit
Yeah,
explanation of why these kids are 30 years old and
which
saying
is
the wrong words for
which is a
everything.
very Lanthimos aspect to the movie. I mean,
Mhm.
all the movies that we're talking about, they just throw you in the context. You're supposed to figure it out. Like they don't explain any of the
Why is everyone acting so dry?
setting.
Is the dialogue so dry?
Yeah. And I mean, like, in The Lobster, the whole dystopian world thing is really, like, between the lines for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on that, like, is dystopian, but it's, like, it's never explicitly given to you.
Yeah, we never really get explanations for anything that's happening.
Yeah, there's no, it's
Why
not
the
like
world
in Star Wars where it scrolls through the whole, you know, the whole pretext, I
Would have
guess.
preferred that at the beginning of Dogtooth. We fuck our sisters here.
Yeah.
And,
Well, only after.
Christina comes over once a week.
Yeah, only after Christina stops.
But all that kind of incest stuff, and even the eldest daughter leaving, like I said, they're still working inside the kind of framework of the father's world that he set up for them.
Mhm.
They never go against the world or question the world.
They never
They're-
question it, yeah.
Yeah, she still wants to get her dog tooth out to move out.
Yeah,
She doesn't go, fuck this, I'm leaving.
yeah,
she's,
exactly.
she's still working in the thought process of her father. They're still all working in this world.
Yeah. It's, I guess, a problem with brainwashing.
And
That's probably one of the psychological things, though, because, like, she wants to rebel and she wants to go against it, but she doesn't know how, because all she knows is what her father's told her. She has no experience with the real world, so she thinks as long as her dog tooth comes out, she can leave.
they only learn, or they only kind of start doing the incest stuff later in the movie, once Christina's gone.
Yeah,
And once they've been licking each other's shoulders for a while.
yeah.
Good shoulder licking scenes. What do you guys think of the shoulder? Not enough? Want some elbow action instead?
I preferred when, what is it? She licks her dad's chest.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, that was.
I think I preferred that out of all the
Do you think she-
licking scenes.
Do you think she licked her father's chest because it reminded her of Christina's bush?
On the second viewing, almost as a cautionary tale for overly conservative politics, like trying to conserve traditional values
Right.
at an absolute extreme, boiled down into the microcosm of a family drama.
Yeah.
So I felt like the only the boy having needing a sexual outlet was just one of the traditional values being critiqued.
You guys want to skip on to the next one?
So,
Well, did Colin have anything to say?
I wasn't in this movie. He wasn't in that movie, so he doesn't want to speak right now.
I thought The Lobster had probably the best social commentary.
Mm.
I think it's probably the only one whose commentary is of a social nature.
Mm.
Its critique of modern relationship culture, whatever that means, I think is pretty apt.
Right.
The kind of like idolization of couples and how, at least on the internet, people seem like overly focused on not being single.
Mm. True. It's definitely an obsession for people, which
Yeah.
makes sense, I mean, biologically.
Yeah. But I think socially, now more than ever, there's a lot more pressure
Okay.
to be. I feel like it's just like,
I disagree.
yeah?
Yeah. To be the social pressure of being in a relationship,
Yeah, I don't
think is almost non-existent.
I mean to fit in.
To fit in?
Yeah.
For the purpose of fitting in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like not, like obviously in like the fucking medieval times,
Mm-hmm.
being in a relationship was like, you know, if you're not, you're probably gonna die. Obviously it was
Right.
more important
Right.
back then. But I mean like to fit in.
From a social perspective, it's better to be in a good relationship and start a family. I mean, for obvious reasons, like just for general happiness too.
Mhm.
I think the film takes a look at it from both perspectives, and I think it does a good job of outlining some pros and cons. of being alone and of being in a relationship. And I think the message is that it really shouldn't matter as long as you can be happy.
It's a good point. I don't think while viewing I'm critical enough during Act 2 when he's with the single crowd.
When he's with
as
the
I
loners,
am,
yeah. He shifts from the hotel to where everyone's focused on finding a mate to the loners where everyone's focused on absolutely being not having a mate.
So like the movie's less about where you should be in terms of relationship status and more who you should be with.
Right.
Something I didn't like about the film is it seems critical in both Act 1 and Act 2 it seems critical against overly physical relationships. I don't mean physical sexually, I mean physical as in like the dude with a limp wants to find a mate with a limp because he thinks that means they're meant to be.
Yeah.
And then he decides to fake having nosebleeds so he can be with a girl who has nosebleeds.
Yeah. In the hotel, we're told that you find someone with a same or similar defining characteristic.
Yeah. And the movie is very critical of that type of attraction,
Right.
I guess. But then he ends up with the girl he's with because they're both nearsighted.
Right.
And then he blinds himself so that they can both be blind.
Yeah.
So
like,
we
I
not
feel
know
like-
if he blinds himself.
It's heavily implied. I think.
Yeah. I'm inclined to think that he does.
Okay.
He's very confident. He's like he's very confident leading up to that scene. He tells her, Lee noticed it for when we were watching it the other night. He's like, he says as he's going to the bathroom, he's like,
Yeah, she's like, do you want me to go with you?
mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, it won't take long.
It won't take long.
He's like, I
he's
got
poking
this.
his eyes out with a steak knife. And he's like, it won't take long. I feel like it would take long. I feel like maybe for the first eye, that confidence will help you through it. But then you got to go right back and start over.
Yeah.
You got to go through that whole thing again, knowing exactly what it feels like.
Yeah. But
he at least, let's give it halfway. He's at least poking one eye out.
Okay.
Maybe he doesn't go the full.
yeah, so my point is I feel like he kind of backtracks on that statement.
Well,
Right,
I mean,
what do
he
we-
never really wanted to be a loner.
No, I mean Yorgos.
Oh, Yorgos.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, because he's implying throughout the film that we should be seeking a deeper connection in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then the connection that sets them free in the end is a purely physical one. So what do we, the viewer, to make of that?
Well, he didn't know that she was nearsighted when he first was like attracted to her.
She was
He
attracted
was-
to him
Yeah. And
because
then,
we get her narration throughout the film until Act 3, I think. But then he only notices her. There's a clear shift when he finds out she's nearsighted.
right. Well, I think the shift is more of a he takes it as it's an affirmation of how he already felt. It
Yeah.
just sort of, gives him the extra, I guess, the confidence to go through with his feelings or to carry out, to act on them. The guy who was giving himself the nosebleeds to end up with that girl, he was doing it just to get in a couple, to not be turned into an animal, to leave the hotel, basically. I mean, they weren't happy together, so the hotel assigned them a child to help them get through their problems.
Which I think is hilarious. That line is so good.
Yeah. Whereas Colin is doing it presumably because he actually fell in love.
But if you're a loner and you're like, it's just they walk around as loners. They're by themselves completely, to do as they wish. But so are you alone? Because you have to follow this group.
Right.
Like it's very
They
conflicting.
Yeah, if you want to be a loner, you have to listen to what all these other loners.
Yeah.
Both have to do with the pressure, but like back to what you guys were saying initially, like the pressure of being in a relationship, and then people are alone. There's also, it seems as though they're talking about a pressure to like be alone and to do your own thing, and
A pressure to be independent.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the pressure to be in a couple.
Mm.
And the animals we see on camera. I think are maybe not that important, but significant. Like they're
Symbolic.
they're symbolic. They're picked on purpose. Like the movie opens with a shot of a mule getting executed.
Yeah, that one for sure is.
Yeah.
It's clear to see. The mule represents. The mule is an animal that cannot reproduce. It's the cross between a horse and a donkey, and mules are sterile. They cannot have, so they don't form couples in that sense to start families and everything. So that's the symbolism is clear at least in that first scene.
The execution of the mule is the execution of the loners.
Right. Colin Farrell is the main protagonist in both The Lobster and in Killing of a Sacred Deer. So that could explain some of the reasons that they seem so similar, like stylistically, I guess, because he'll act the same way as he did. Because all the actors are acting in sort of a non-emotive way, like a robotic way, but they all do it kind of differently at the same time.
Yeah.
Some of them they can't help but put a little emotion into, like just a little bit. Emma Stone.
Emma Stone had the hardest time, I think.
Well, in The Favorite, it was the least like that. In general, there was more emotion being portrayed.
There's more comedy. Comedy kind of demands
Yeah.
a hint of human nature to the dialogue.
Yeah. Well, it was more accessible comedy.
Killing of a Sacred Deer came out 2 years later. It takes them less and less time to make a movie.
The title is from an ancient Greek myth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
King Agamemnon,
Okay.
who you'll remember from the Battle of Troy.
Yeah, I do remember him from the Battle of Troy.
Exactly. The king is hunting, and he ends up in sacred grounds while he's hunting in his land, and he kills a deer that was a sacred deer, as he has to make a sacrifice to the god who he's angered. I forget which one it is. There was a lot. He has to make a sacrifice in repentance for the crime that he's committed by killing the deer. So I think how it goes is that he makes some regular sacrifices, like food offerings and stuff like that, and it doesn't make it better, so he ends up making a sacrifice of one of his children.
Like if you watch the movie without knowing that,
You're lost.
yeah. I mean, I think it's a good kind of lost. It's still
Definitely not bad.
yeah, but knowing that definitely adds a whole new layer to the film.
But even if you're watching and you don't know the myth, you're never really fully lost, though. You still get any kind of eye for eye principle is still there.
Yeah, they do explain it.
Yeah, they do.
At some point, he says, when he meets him in the cafeteria when his son gets sick, he's like,
These are the rules.
these are the rules.
Yeah.
Your family's going to get sick one by one. These are the steps of the sickness. The last one is death. Unless you pick one to kill yourself, they're all going to die.
Cool steps, though.
Yeah.
I like the steps.
Cool
I thought
step,
the bleeding eyes and not eating the food, lame. Not the coolest.
Yeah.
But once Bob's eyes started bleeding, wouldn't you just shoot him right away? Or he's gonna die soon anyways.
I definitely would not have shot Bob.
I would have killed Bob.
No,
No?
I definitely would have killed Kim.
Yeah.
Really?
I would have killed him too.
Like
She's
him.
literally trying to fuck the dude who's killing my family.
He's
Yeah.
a stud, you see it? It's fucking good looking dude.
I did. He was a little bitch, honestly. The dad beats him up. No problem.
Mind you, this is like the only movie that talks about before, like why things are the way that they are. I guess they kind of have to.
Oh, like how
why these things are happening.
how the person died on his table.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
why and what happened. Because the lobster doesn't talk about why. During
Why
the
society is
situation.
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But without that, you'd
Yeah.
be like way too lost.
But yeah,
with
that's
anything,
it.
Yeah, because I guess in The Lobster, why society is that way is
That's the whole commentary.
not
Yeah.
the point. It's
This is how it is.
yeah,
Punishment's more of a interpersonal one, not like a societal punishment.
Right.
yeah.
He's not getting in
Yeah.
trouble for the work. He's getting in
Mhm.
trouble just for hurting this one person.
Yeah.
He wants to hurt him back. So there doesn't have to be moral for why this happened or why he's drinking to hurt
Well-
it. Just could have been anything.
But
I-
even in an interpersonal conflict, there can still be a thematic message.
I think
Like it could just
there-
be a more personal moral message.
But like,
Lobster was obviously societal,
yeah.
but
But I don't know if the drinking has really anything to do with why anything happened or went wrong with it. Like it's more of him going against his word.
It's
Like he was supposed to help the kid's father get better, and then he didn't. So he went against his promise to the
Mm.
kid. So now the kid's angry at him.
right.
like the theme of Lobster was societal and relationships,
Mhm.
right? And then the theme of Dogtooth is either overprotectionism, either as a symbol for your values or quite literally your children
Mm-hmm.
and how you need to expose them to the world. But in Killing, the theme is like don't fuck up your surgery.
No, it's like eye for an eye. No.
But does the film promote eye to eye, or does it critique eye to eye? I don't think it does either. I think it just presents it as a moral excuse for what's going on, and kind of just leaves it at that, and doesn't say whether or not eye to eye is a good or bad thing.
Or is it like about like revenge then at that point? Like, I guess eye to eye is revenge.
Yeah,
But like,
and even if it is about revenge, what is it trying to say about revenge? Is what I'm kind of going at.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Is revenge
Like, there's a
After seeing the movie, do you think
Yeah.
revenge was a good thing? Did he deserve to be avenged, this person who died on the operating table?
Because like we say, Lobster was about relationships,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes a position on relationships, right? It critiques it in both a positive and negative light. But with Lobster, there's a million things we can say the film is about, but not much that we can base a conclusion on, is I guess what I'm going at.
What is it saying about them? It's talking about them. What is it saying
That's
about
it. It's talking about morality, and it's talking about eye to eye and revenge and all that stuff. But I don't think it's ever really saying anything about it, apart from just saying, you know, this is some motivation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On to the favorite.
Yeah, on to the favorite.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's only like 5 rooms in one big mansion.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
costumes would be more.
It's
What
also-
takes up the most time would be to make the suits for everybody.
Not just the main.
Yeah.
All the whole secondary cast was mostly
Yeah.
popular faces as well.
Exactly.
Like
Known
that.
people, at least.
Wow, John
Nicholas
C.
Hoult.
Riley
Yeah.
in The Lobster. John C. Riley.
John C. Riley might be my favorite character out of all the 4 movies. I think.
John C. Riley was good,
He's fucking
Oh.
but he was one of the
He's
ones I
funny.
found that wasn't quite at the completely void of emotion.
No.
No.
Level.
He was more awkward compared to the other ones. The favorite is definitely the most straightforward, easiest
Yeah.
to grasp conceptually, at least.
Just seems like a straight period piece.
Yeah,
a normal
exactly.
kind of Hollywood period piece.
Just with kind of the Lanthimos style over it.
Not even. I don't even think it was really too much in the same vein as the other 2.
Yeah?
As Lobster, and that is the acting is normal acting. The sets are normal sets. Costume is normal costume. It's only pretty well the wide angle
Yeah,
That
the
would-
camera work is
yeah.
very much him.
that would suggest anything other than a normal anybody Joe off the street directing it.
Yeah. There's a lot of fisheye in this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Which always caught me off guard.
yeah. I think he's kind of going against the normal
Yeah.
what you'd go with a period piece. Because normally with a period piece you'd try, or the way you'd shoot like a Victorian movie like this is with the least amount of movement possible
Yeah.
and the widest, or not the widest, but the longest lenses possible.
Mm.
So you want to keep everything in focus, but you also want to keep everything's perspective the same as you see it now. Like Barry Lyndon, Kubrick's Victorian period piece.
Mm.
There's only 2 camera movements in the whole thing, or pretty well 2, and then 2 handheld, I think. But those are only there to shock you into going, whoa, this is a different kind of world.
Okay.
But it's more of a another social critique on the thing, saying this is such a constructed society. Everyone has their blocks, everyone has their places, so the camera work's going to be the same way.
Yeah, okay.
When we blocked like this.
Mm.
He's kind of doing more of a freer story. Queen's a bit lesbianic, a bit. There's some,
A bit.
well, pretty well. And
Yeah.
he's kind of going against what the normal would be for something like this, where you use a wide angle or a fisheye lens that you'd see in like a skateboarding video.
Mm.
Seems like Yorgos' return to social commentary.
Mm.
I mean, like you said, social ladder climbing is
Yeah.
very much what this movie is about. I think,
It's also every Victorian movie, though. It's
Yeah.
always the same.
but I think the comedy of the film.
I actually said that it wasn't about that.
I meant what Nick said.
Mhm.
I think the comedy of the film likens it to the current political climate,
Mm.
and that this, much like what sci-fi does by projecting the present into the future to comment on the present, I think Yorgos is projecting the present into the past.
Oh yeah.
So he's making a period piece while critiquing current political interactions. I feel like most Victorian period pieces are a critique of Victorian society.
Mm-hmm.
Where I guess all I'm trying to say is this is, using the Victorian era as a tool to critique current society.
My daughter has a psychosomatic disorder. Colin Farrell, everyone. Wow. Amazing.
So honored to
Tremendous.
have him drop by the studio and announce like that.
It's funny. I called his manager up and I said, "Can we get Colin Farrell?" And he didn't ask any questions. He's like, "Yes, I'm
Nice.
booked."
I watched it backwards.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw the excess of the style, or the conclusion of his
Mm.
learning throughout his other movies into this, the favorite style that came
Yeah.
out, and worked backwards. Do you guys want to do the same kind of thing?
Yeah, we can go back.
Yeah.
We made it all the way here. Now let's go back.
Yeah, that's a nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is that? Anyways, let's go. So, the main look of the favorite would be, what do you guys say? All natural lighting, all wide angle, no handheld, no shallow, all dollies, no zooms, for the breakdown of the
No
the
zooms.
camera structure. I don't think so. Was there any? I couldn't think of any when I was trying to think back.
At the
on
end, the
Yeah.
final scene was a zoom.
The
Yeah.
final scene?
Yeah.
But compared to stuff like Killing
yeah,
That's
and
every-
Lobster,
every
there's a
third
lot
shot.
of fucking zooms
Yeah.
in those movies.
Yeah.
And that is a
So-
zoom, yeah.
way
that
less.
surprises
yeah.
me if there's none in the
Way less,
favorite.
and a couple fish eyes in there, right?
Right.
Zoom you also want to keep in the kind of spookier movies, though.
That's
Mm.
true.
It's kind of
It
like
is a
a,
spook.
oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more of a
Unsettling.
psychic connection than an actual physical movement
Mm.
of the camera. It kind of reflects that, though, in the favorite, the choices of camera movement, where it's very straightforward, structured, and Dogtooth, where it's like going crazy. There's more handheld, everything's shallow.
Mm.
Seems more like a guy just holding his camera, running around.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice a change in between style, getting more docile or getting calmer in the actual camera work, or did you find the wide angles made up for the lack of energy in the actual shooting of it?
I mean, I've always found that there's like a very calm camera work in general. It's sort of like the scenes always are very calm, and then when something does happen, like for example in Dogtooth, it's usually a motionless camera on a scene, and it'll cut.
Yeah,
That was,
yeah.
but the camera was still still. So
The the calmness of the camera, though, it would be still a static camera,
Mhm.
but the shot choice or the composition of the shots in Dogtooth are much stranger,
Okay.
or much different than what you'd see in the favorite, where
Okay.
everything's a normal shot.
oh, okay, I'm
pretty
following.
well.
Yeah, I'm following.
know,
Yeah.
Like everything Dogtooth, or everything in the favorite is a head and shoulders. Here's
Right.
a close up.
Mm.
Here's a wide angle. But Dogtooth, you're getting like off angles
Yeah.
mostly throughout the entire movie.
Okay.
The scene where he goes to the dog breeder or the dog trainer.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, we want to get our dogs trained. He's talking about how you raise your dogs,
Yeah.
and every shot is like from the guy's shoulder, looking
Yeah,
at
that's
the
true.
background.
Yeah.
The guy top of the forehead, or
Right.
like looking at the desk through.
I see
Like
what
they're
you mean.
more strange shots,
Mm.
where the favorite is just very normal. So he's becoming more Hollywood and more normal, more easily digestible movies with that.
Mm.
I think.
Definitely the favorite.
Just composition alone.
All around.
Yeah, but I don't think it's because of any sort of like temporal or Hollywood influence or anything like that. I think what he's doing, which we've talked about a lot with other directors, is I think he's making his way through the genres. We
Mhm.
talked about this with Refn.
Yeah,
We talked about, I think we mentioned Kubrick did this.
yeah.
Lars Van Trier did this. So I think they're all genres. They're all Lanthimos' takes on a certain genre, and so his camera work is very reminiscent of that specific genre. But the movies themselves are always his own take, which has a very specific flavor.
Mm.
I think we see it mostly in the last two, Killing and The Favorite. Because I think Dogtooth would be his version of a family drama. Then Lobster is sci-fi, Killing is horror, and Favorite is period piece. So the reason it's filmed like that is because it's filmed like a period piece.
But it's not, though. It's the opposite of how you'd film a period piece, or how anyone else would, or anyone prior has.
I guess I mean,
Well, in terms of the regular shots, portrait, the portrait
yeah,
shots,
like
and
it's
stuff
still
like that.
shot. Like I
Yeah.
feel like period pieces are always shot like a painting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like they're always trying to mimic that style of painting.
I think
And then
yeah.
Killing,
that style, like, for sure.
yeah, and Killing is very much shot like a horror film,
Yeah, completely.
completely.
Yeah.
Lobster has a lot of what Killing does, but kind of tamed down.
I think The Lobster would be a take on a romance.
It's very European the way it looks too in that movie.
That movie,
Yeah.
European.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like American movies, they're more action movement
Oh,
kind of
okay, yeah,
things,
for
more
sure.
like that.
Jason
is-
Bourne with the camera shaking.
Yeah, even like love stuff in American movies, it's
Oh, okay.
more excitement. You're more
more
of a
poppy.
visceral
Oh, okay.
feeling in the scenes.
Yeah.
And this is very objective cut
Mm.
kind of things, or not objective cut, but objective shot.
Right.
There's two people sitting on a couch in a wide angle. There's a close up of mom and dad playing guitar or something.
Right.
Yeah. Nice slow European. The cool thing in The Lobster, the lens choices kind of change when they move between places.
Mhm.
So the opening first third of the movie when they're in the hotel, it's all very wide angle, deep focus, and mostly symmetrical. Everything
Yeah.
you're looking down stairs, looking down hallways.
Mm.
Everything's like one point where the line meets in the middle.
Mm.
And once they get in the woods and you're supposed to be alone, he puts shallow lenses on it.
Mm.
So you'd have silhouetted branches in the front, Colin Farrell standing in the middle, and everything kind of blurred in the background,
Mm.
or the forest blurring out in the background.
Mm.
Which is something that happens in sci-fi a lot.
Mm.
Like there's always a controlled area, like a spaceship, which
Mm.
is always symmetrical. Probably because of Kubrick, honestly.
Mm.
And then there's always, like the monster's lair or whatever, which is always very shallow and out of focus a little and darker.
Also kind of isolates the character
Yeah.
too. If they're the loners, they're the only thing in focus in the frame. They're the only thing you can see in the
Mm.
frame. Everything else is bokeh speck. What else? In the third act of that movie, when they're kind of getting back and forth pretty well, more just for action, or just
The
for
camera work?
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
Just to tie up the plot in Lobster at least.
Yeah. Then, okay, so Killing. Opening shot is heart surgery.
Mhm.
That's a fucking good opening.
That's a fucking good opening.
That is a really good opening.
I like how the opening shot of the surgery ends with he pans out of the surgery.
Yeah.
Dolly's back.
Dolly's back. Then he ends that scene by dollying back from a trash can.
Yeah. Throws
Which-
his surgical
Yeah.
robe.
I thought that was a nice kind of foreshadowing of trashed surgery, death
Mm.
by surgery kind of thing. I thought that was cute.
Yeah. That's sort of like the what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
This is your context.
Yeah, this is your exposition.
Yeah.
The final scene of Killing.
It's the Kim just staring. Is that it? Something like that.
Yeah, them walking
Yeah.
out of the diner.
I don't like that last scene.
You didn't like
I
that?
don't like how it's tied up. No, it seems like there's no resolution.
That's what I
thing
liked
that needs
about
no resolution.
I
don't
like
know.
that it doesn't feel like it's over. It feels like they're going to be haunted by this rest of their life.
Yeah,
That's
It-
true.
there's something I find missing in that movie though. You were kind of talking about it before. When is there something
Yeah.
you can hold on to in it? But even that, there's no really characters I like. There's no redeemable characters or redeemable anything for anyone in it. Everyone's pretty well just like would you say like old world eye for eye. There's no compassion or any kind of I don't know. There's no dealing with these kind of absolute people. Everything is the black or white, and there's no
Yeah.
middle. And this is my least favorite of his. I think is that one though, just for that reason alone, maybe.
Yeah.
We do see some off-angle shots in that movie,
Yeah.
like where they wouldn't be normally like correct framings
Right.
per shot. The kind of introduction to the kid when you first meet him, when they're kind of walking after getting ice cream, I think it is,
Hmm.
and they're dollying next to him, and it's a low angle, looking up, and his head kind of cuts the frame here, and it's on a Dutch angle in the back with like a building in the back.
Yeah.
I didn't think those were really nice at all. Those
Really?
shots.
I like
Yeah.
them. I did like them.
You normally use them to get to be spooky or to like break whatever kind of mold you're set in or the viewer's set in when you're watching a horror movie like that. But those kind of angles I found they wouldn't really add something to it.
Really?
Yeah, even the super wide shot at the end when there's a big bridge in the background, like none of that stuff has anything to do with anything that's going on the screen. You could have the exact same scene, both of them sitting in a diner or both of them sitting in a car. The set that they were using didn't matter for anything. The big buildings, the wide open space, none of it had anything to do with what was actually going on with it. You know, there could have been a different set for this kind of introduction of this character.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit hollow, those shots or those scenes.
I felt all of those scenes contributed to the unease that the film anticipates with the boy.
Mm.
So I felt like the environment was kind of letting us know, like, this kid's fucking fucked up. He's gonna, something's about to happen.
Mm.
It's because within the film, like on a surface level, within the dialogue and contextually, we don't get any hints that the kid's any weirder than anyone else.
Right.
His dialogue and his delivery is just as, dull and awkward as everyone else's in any Lanthimos film.
Mm.
So it's kind of the sound editing especially, but those shots and those settings and the camera technique, I think, adds to the anticipation and the build of tension surrounding the kid.
For a casual viewer, though, I think it's tough to get into something like
Maybe,
that. Yeah.
Lobster, opening shot is the mule execution,
Yeah, that's a great one.
which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Closing shot is the eyeball stabbing.
Yeah, he's about to cut out his eyes.
Yeah, and it ends with just her waiting in the diner.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I thought those are probably my favorite opening and closing shots. I really like the closing shot to the favorite, but Lobster has some fucking good ones too.
Yeah, I like the lobster. The openings are pretty good at, I guess, foreshadowing the movies in general.
What do we make of Lanthimos' dialogue?
The way they talk.
Yeah, and acting, his actor
It's
directory.
like watching a play, I find.
This girl doesn't like plays.
But it is, though, but it's like...
He also directs plays, too.
Yeah,
So
well,
there
there
you
you
go.
But I found, the favorite, I found I was watching a play the whole time.
Huh.
And I find the way that they talk is very, amateur play actors.
That's just
that
because
are,
there's no emotion.
No, I know, but that's what
That's what the feeling is.
that's what the feeling is. But I think that's kind of... I think he wants you to grasp the concept of his movie so much that he doesn't focus on emotion. So he makes his actors act that way.
I think so. I think that as well. I think he wants the burden as the director to put emotion on display.
Yeah.
And I think he's almost using the actors more as a tool than as like actual components.
He's taking the spotlight off of the acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's saying less of a control thing and more of a I don't know.
You always kind of have
Stylistic.
a technical director though, and more, or not a more actor friendly director.
Yeah.
He's definitely more technical.
Yeah.
Lanthimos. You could see a fantastic movie where the director is only worried about the acting, and it'll be just a terrible movie. But everyone acts well, but it doesn't matter. Still looks like shit. Still mud, crap, whatever. Or you have a nice movie like something Lanthimos has, but the acting's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I'd prefer the weirder acting.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Mm.
And I think it's interesting that he goes out of his way to get good actors to act badly for him.
Mm.
Primarily because I don't think it's bad acting.
The best actors are the best at acting the way
The director wants.
that the director wants.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
when
point.
Yorgos is seems clear to me that he's saying, no emotion,
Yeah.
none at all.
Who is it? It's like Brecht, I think, who does the acting, where the actor has to be complete garbage so that you pay attention to the set design and everything else.
Oh,
other
does
than
he?
the acting? Yeah. Well, this is like a theater.
Oh, okay.
A theater.
Yeah, that's what I think.
One.
Monolith is
Yeah.
doing.
So you dull down things, or you tone things down purposefully
Yeah.
to make them not good, so other things come through.
But I find that their lack of emotion and stuff makes me focus on it, but also like because they're so like bland about stuff, like I'm more like watching it.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Like
I
projecting your emotions.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have more emotion about it. It's like when
It's like
you
you're-
watch like for instance, like when in The Lobster, like his dog, well, his brother is killed by his girlfriend or whatever,
Yeah.
by his lover, and he can't have emotion about it, and she has none at all. But like, it makes me so sad. And then because like, I mean, he does have a little bit of emotion in it, but because he's trying to like
He's
hide it so
crying,
much,
yeah.
like I feel more towards it.
Yeah.
Or in any one of his movies, because they're all so just like it goes over their head, or it's just something that happened, but to you who's watching it like from a realistic point of view, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's probably really good for the story because I find it makes me actually really pay attention to what they're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's almost like he's using their acting as a tool to incite empathy instead of sympathy.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to relate to the characters, you're supposed to feel for the characters.
Yeah.
Right.
Also a little bit of a trick too, though. If you make everyone act bad, no one can say, "Fuck, these guys act bad."
But the
Listen,
thing is
buddy.
that the best actors
You know,
are the
Brett-
best at acting in this way. Like Colin Farrell, completely emotionless, and then John C. Reilly, who's sort of a character. He's always the comedic role and stuff like that. Not bad. It's just he's was the worst at portraying the least emotion.
Yeah.
And
I think probably Alicia Silverstone from Killing was worse for me.
I was just going to The Lobster.
Oh, okay, you just meant Lobster
Yeah.
specific. Okay, yeah.
I didn't like her teeth.
That's
too
the
much.
mom, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
kid's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's Cher from Clueless.
Oh shit.
Is-
she is
who?
in
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Cher from Clueless.
Oh, Clueless. Okay.
I think is this the first time we have
I thought you said Shameless.
an actor in two of our movies?
Maybe.
Interesting that it's her.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting that it's in this movie too.
Bad
Colin
teeth
Farrell.
progression though. She had very nice teeth in Clueless.
Yeah.
Bad teeth in this movie.
I noticed that as well.
Not very nice at all.
She does that same whole mouth face movement
Yeah.
that she does as Cher, which completely brought me out of Killing. Which is,
one?
I think,
Which one
why.
is Cher? The main character?
Yeah, the main
Clueless.
character in Clueless. She has that same mannerism about her, just a little more
Yeah.
maniacal in
Did-
this to be on character. But
Yeah.
compared to Colin Farrell's just like zero reaction to her insanity, it's like, dude, this is fucking like, it just snaps me right out of the movie.
At the same time, she's actually crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's why she's
In real life.
in
No,
the
in
movie.
the
So
characters-
that's why
Yeah.
she's insane. She
Yeah,
is. Well, she's not like psychopath or anything. But
Yeah, yeah.
She's like there's something wrong
well,
with
it
her.
seems,
She's
it
a
honestly
bit
seems like it
she's a bit unhinged.
relatively.
She
Yeah.
got taste for nice hands at least.
Like, nice hands. Yeah, she knows how to
That's
pick
good.
them out.
But like, if that exact scene and her exact acting
Mhm.
was pulled from this movie and put into a movie with normal acting,
Mhm.
she wouldn't seem as crazy
Exactly.
relative to
Yeah.
the others. Yeah,
Mhm.
So it's like almost like he wanted her to be more
yeah, maybe.
in that vein. Is there anyone else like that? I wonder.
I don't know. I found Emma Stone to be quite the oddball in one of his movies. Like it was just, it's not the typical go-to.
It's a very familiar face.
Yeah, that's it.
Colin Farrell too.
But the whole movie was different than
Yeah.
any one of his other movies, so it worked.
Mm.
But I don't think if you were to put her in like The Lobster or something, that
What if you're Yorgos making like fucking Dogtooth, and then you get Emma Stone in one of your movies? You'd want to take her right away,
oh yeah, for
no
sure.
matter what. Yeah.
If
For
you're
sure,
making
for sure.
Dogtooth, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think that's his most popular movie. I don't think. I mean, I know him because of you guys,
Yeah,
but I probably wouldn't have watched
yeah.
his
And-
movies.
For
Except
the,
for the favorite, maybe.
But that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the general public, the favorite probably is his most popular.
Definitely.
But
It's
even
Oscar winning.
Yeah, for
so is
sure.
Dogtooth.
Dogtooth is not Oscar winning.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
It is?
I think it won Best
That's-
Foreign Film.
Yeah.
Huh.
But there's plenty of Oscar-winning movies that people are like, oh, never heard of it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying for the Academy and for the
Yeah.
film community,
Mm.
I think
Definitely.
you know, they've known about Dogtooth since 2009.
Right.
So it might not be his most popular in that, but for the general
Yeah,
public,
I mean,
definitely the favorite
Mhm.
is his most popular.
It makes sense knowing that now because his next film right away, Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz, great production and
He
everything.
does Alps in between.
Does Alps in between?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Dude, I felt the same way. I was like, he used, his Oscar-winning Dogtooth to fund The Lobster. That's pretty cool. And then I found out he did Alps in between that no one knows about.
Hmm.
Fuck. After the hour,
Damn
it formatted the card. So you guys want to do the analysis part again? Now, like the first hour, we lost that. If you guys want to.
Fucking guy.
I was doing dry acting. That's what I was doing, dry acting.
Fucking.
Fuck. Yeah, a few of my things here just for carryover kind of signature little moves that he does. A lot of. Never in Dogtooth do we see it, but the story kind of doesn't need for it to be there. It's the back tracking shot of a vehicle in wide angle.
Right.
So we see that many times in Lobster, favorite one time, and Killing, where it's like you'd have a vehicle, like in the favorite, it's the buggy that's
Mhm.
driving, and behind it you'd have a higher up camera with a big wide angle, and it kind of looks like the vehicle's right center frame, and then we just follow it up the road. So
Right.
he's like in another car behind the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
tripod on the back.
Right.
But we see that in the favorite with the buggy, in the Lobster 3 times. I think it might be every break almost, where he's following that big van, that
Yeah.
white van kind of thing, and we follow it from behind. The Killing, I'm actually not remembering right now.
He does it.
He does it in the Killing
Yeah, he does
too.
it. He does it super high though, like way
Yeah.
higher than any
Yeah.
other. And I don't think he's following any car.
Just tracking down the road.
Yeah.
You were talking about music before.
Yeah.
Music seems to be a pretty static throughout all his movies.
Yeah.
It's amplified classical just for
Yeah.
key parts pretty well.
Yeah.
Kind of takes the part of the emotion though in the scene.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah,
It really does. Since the characters aren't.
doing fuck all. Yeah, I wrote like a carryover theme in the. I was thinking the 3 Hollywood movies, but you kind of see it in Dogtooth also. I guess a bit was a forbidden romance, like something that wasn't supposed to work out, like the doctor and the kid's mother isn't supposed to happen, or like Kim and the kid
Yeah.
isn't supposed to happen, or the Queen and the Handmaiden, or the Queen and Emma Stone,
Mm-hmm.
the Lobster and the Loner
Right.
girl. Like it's always these kind of little love things that don't work out. What else we got in here?
In Dogtooth.
Fucking your sister, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? Look at you.
Well, maybe it was the girl who came
Christina.
to Christina. Yeah. She's supposed to fuck the son,
Yeah.
and she goes and
True.
gets the
Fucks
sister
sister.
to eat her puss.
Oh yeah, there's the tracking shot right there.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, those are some little signature little things that you see in it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see any other frames or shots or composition that carries through?
Yeah, I did. I did notice, at least in between. I find his camera work in between the Lobster and Killing is probably the most similar.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of like opening shots to new scenes are very sharp. Like when they transition to a new room, let's say, or like when they go into the diner and Killing. There's shots like this one here, which for the viewers at home is the opening shot of the very first diner scene. It's like everything is pointing in a
Okay.
specific direction,
Okay.
but it's not symmetrical down the frame.
That'd be like a 45-degree prime.
Yeah,
What you call something like that.
I noticed a lot of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same way, like where Refn would only use head-on 45 or 90-degree kind of
Right.
things.
Mm.
It's doing the same kind of thing here. Like if Colin Farrell is the center of the frame here, he's dead in the middle. The angle goes that way, so we're kind of on a 45 with him
Okay, yeah.
pretty well. That's kind of like the setup there that we're seeing.
I find he always has kind of a muted palette as well to a lot of beige in all of his films, and the greens are always very like forest green and not neon green.
The forest greens are popping too, though.
Yeah,
They're
but they're
very-
not like in.
I don't really like his like institutional interior kind of stuff. More like the looking down a hallway kind of straight and everything does that. It's pretty overused for maybe like 40 years maybe,
Yeah,
and you see that in the hospital.
yeah, you see that a lot in the hospital.
I don't really like shots like that too much, but like a shot like you're showing there in the diner
Yeah,
or in the woods where there's more excitement, there's a bit more interesting stuff in it. Those are always really nice.
yeah,
Or like inside the lobster institution at the beginning, where everything's very straight, angled,
Yeah.
precise. I prefer having a little silhouette in the front, little sticks coming through, a little flamingo walking in the background.
we were talking about zooms before. Killing of a Sacred Deer is on Netflix. For those wondering, Lobster is on Amazon Prime. Dogtooth is on Shudder. The Favorite will probably be on demand pretty soon.
I bet that's going straight to Netflix too,
Yeah.
for sure.
But if you just like pan over on Netflix, if you just pan over every shot of killing, you could like literally every like second or third scene is a zoom.
Pretty well, yeah.
The whole movie is a zoom. It's nuts.
Zoom or dolly pretty well.
Yeah.
Every single shot. Close-ups are pretty well always static though. In
Yeah.
every one of his shots. Like Dogtooth would be the outlier for every out of the 4 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just might be like technical, not technical prowess, but like he wouldn't have dollies long enough to do it then, or wouldn't have enough money to buy a dolly that long.
Right.
Where something like this, you'd see a dolly in Killing, but like he'd do the same thing handheld.
Or maybe he
Yeah.
just didn't know that he liked it so much yet.
Expensive to
Dogtooth.
that shit. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because you need like a full track and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It takes like a full day probably to do one shot.
I find also, because there's a lot more moving parts in a dolly shot.
Fuck yeah.
Like not just with the camera itself, but with everything else on camera. I found Dogtooth's filmography, or whatever camera work, worked well in the setting of the film as well, though. Like it was kind of convenient that it was, set in one house.
Right.
Because it kind of adds to the claustrophobia that the children feel.
Right.
It's kind of like, not that you're there with them, but just it is much more of a subjective.
That's what it's
camera.
like in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a much more subjective.
Was it an atmospheric tool?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're in atmosphere now.
Yeah, because even the house they chose, I read that they chose that house because of the yard. Because,
It's so closed off.
but it's big.
Right.
Yorgos felt that if the yard was too small, then it would be too claustrophobic.
Okay.
He needed a big open, like that garden with just like that weird platform, that big open yard. He needed that
Okay.
so that the film wouldn't be so closed off.
Hmm.
Because I guess he was afraid of being too claustrophobic.
Right.
You feel it in the first scene though, in that bathroom opening scene.
The
Yeah.
claustrophobia?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm
3 bodies stuffed in there.
Yeah,
Like,
and
Yeah.
it's just cutting between head and shoulder shot the entire time through.
Yeah, I'm happy the house had the high fence, because I feel like if he was too afraid of the claustrophobia, the movie wouldn't be
Take
the
you out of
same.
it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
claustrophobia helped a lot. I think it worked well with the film.
The atmosphere was pretty good.
Yeah,
It was good. It wasn't too much, wasn't too little.
I think Dogtooth would be the only one of the films where we see handheld or any kind of gelled lighting too in that movie.
what is gelled lighting?
Like any kind of color sheet put on top of
Okay.
lights to make like an excessive
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
look of color, or like The Favorite or The Lobster. They always like have people sitting next to windows or close
Yeah.
to the outside or something where you'd have
Right.
natural lighting instead.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think only in the opening or the first maybe 10-15 minutes of Dogtooth we see some kind of sex scene, I think, and it's hot red the entire time. Fire red and black shadow, pretty well.
In Dogtooth?
I think it's the first 10 minutes of Dogtooth. You see when it might be the son and Christina, but I think that's the only shot in all of his stuff with any kind of stylized lighting. The lighting is always natural afterwards, and we get the dominance of the wide angle.
Yeah.
As the like it's also a money thing too.
I think
Yeah.
primarily, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like with Lobster and Killing, he's almost like experimenting with all these new fun tools he has. I mean, he's doing it well, obviously, but and then in The Favorite, he's kind of like knows how to use them. So
Like a wide angle opposed to like a shallow lens would probably need like 2 or 3 times the lights too
yeah,
to get the same color level
Right.
or anything. You need to blast the shit out of those lights to get any kind of good look. So like you see a moving or a not a handheld shot, but it's like a floating camera shot when Colin Farrell goes into the basement to go beat up the tied up kid in Killing a Sacred Deer, and it's just a big wide angle and he falls behind him, and it kind of shocks you, the world kind of moving by so fast in wide angle, and it's the exact same shot as the end of Dogtooth when the eldest daughter is running through the yard when she leaves, except it's a shallow lens and he's running after her and he keeps her in focus and the world is blurred out. So the wide angle has much more of a shock on your system than seeing just a blur
yeah.
go by. So it's more shocking, more expensive, and harder to do with the wide angle than it is for the shallow stuff. So, Monica, if you had to give your own reviews, what would you say for the... Would you rather do the 4 movies individually or the director together?
Yeah, should we review Lanthimos or review each movie?
I think maybe Lanthimos.
Yeah, I think so too.
Lanthimos
Yeah.
As a director, what do you think?
as a director. He's very smart. He's very
Greek?
yeah, he's also Greek. He's weird too, though. Like, I just think that he has a good way of portraying ideas that you wouldn't necessarily think about and making them very obvious on screen and giving them other than killing, but like giving them a voice and a visual to it. I don't know. I think he's got a cool style, but I honestly I wouldn't have watched him if we weren't dating. So, but he's definitely not like the mainstream, but I think he's cool.
On 10, what would you give his filmography that we watched? His selected filmography?
On 10? I don't know. I'm not good at that.
10 being awesome, fantastic. 5 being just an average kind of guy.
9 out of 10 being perfect.
0
4 to 5 being a book I would have written.
0 out of 10 being Toaster in the Bath. 5 out of 10 being if these movies didn't exist, you wouldn't care. They do exist, you still don't care. 10 out of 10, you're fucking stoked on these movies.
Some of your favorites, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say like a solid 8 for overall. And then like individually, like the favorite, probably 10. I really enjoyed it. The Lobster, 8 as well. Killing, I would like a 6. It's good, but it's not my favorite. And then Dogtooth just made me really uncomfortable, so I guess
A 10.
yeah. So yeah, that's that on that.
Fair review. What do you think, Joy?
Well,
Yeah.
let me think. Overall, I'm probably gonna give it a 9. I really like Yorgos' stuff. Dogtooth, really good. Let me go in order of my favorites. So Lobster, I'm willing to give that a 10. I really liked it. I'm gonna give Killing and Dogtooth a 9, And The Favorite, an 8.
High ranking.
Yeah, damn,
Yeah,
dude.
I
Fire
like
So-
Yorgos a lot.
Average of 9. For
Average
his,
of 9, yeah.
For the filmography.
Overall, yeah. Reasoning?
Here we go.
No.
Another hour.
No, I just think it's like a really interesting style, especially for the acting direction. That was what originally interested me in the movies, and the more that I watch them, the more I find some like little details in the story and everything. And the themes are interesting to me. The social commentaries and the social commentaries and the period piece. It's all social commentary, right? But I mean, there's a lot of social commentaries to be had. So, and he does a good job at looking, I think, at in The Lobster, for example, looking at things from two sides. You know, getting the full perspective. And in Killing, I think it's a really good parallel, like a modernization of like a classic mythology. And he never loses that style throughout the whole. Like, he always has that classic Yorgos. Like, it's like a stamp, you know? You can always tell it's his kind of movie. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents, I guess, you know? More like 20 cents.
What do you think, Lee? What would you give these films and director?
As a director, probably an 8 out of 10 for Yorgos. He's not my favorite director, but he's up there. I think his control as a director is probably one of the best out of anyone currently working. Like, you can definitely tell he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it for a specific reason, you know? And I think that lends well to his style, and I think his style is unique enough in and of itself to be appreciated. But it's not like mind-blowing for me. Killing would definitely be my favorite, I think, just because I like horror movies so much. So it being the closest thing to a horror movie, just like personally, it's my favorite. Like, I don't think, honestly, like, rating wise, it probably wouldn't be rated the highest, but it's my favorite of his movies. You know what I mean? I'd probably give Lobster a 9, Killing an 8, Dogtooth a 7, Favorite a 6. Probably go down the list like that.
Fair. Yeah, like I was saying, that the Killing the Sacred Deer was my least favorite.
Yeah.
But least favorite's still like a 7.5
Yeah.
on 10 still. They're still high ranking movies. I was just kind of like seeing the progression kind of the style that he's going through. Kind of a little nervous for what's coming next. I don't know if his maybe 2 movies from now, if it'll be any good, or
Right.
if it'll just be some normal bogus movie.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
I don't know how that style's going to carry on if he keeps bigger budgets and higher actors and
Right.
more mainstream kind of stuff. My order would kind of go like 8, maybe 8.5 Dogtooth, 8, 7.5, 6, something like that. Kind of going down
Yeah.
as the movies go up pretty
Okay.
well. But I'd give him an 8 on 10.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, I am interested also in seeing where he goes with his directing. I hope there's not a trend that we're seeing now where it goes less and less, I guess, stylized, or how we've seen his style in like the early films with The Favorite, because it was so, I guess it was very normalized compared to the other 3. I hope he can go back and like really push that style through again, because I loved it.
Yeah.
for Dogtooth, like to get some of the shots or to put some of the shots and some of the moments in, you gotta have some pretty big balls to do that, you know.
Yeah.
And in The Favorite, there's not too many big ballsy moves in it. There's like 2 or 3 super fisheye lens shots, and that's about the max of the extreme of it. Where like Dogtooth, you're fucking your sister, you're making out with your dad. There's all kinds of weird shit. You're filming people's backs and not talking stuff. Like that's some choices.
Yeah. I also find the fisheye. Like you do it once and it's like, ooh, weird. You do it 3 times, and it's kind of like, okay, why? You know, because even the shots he does it in they're not that important to the film. It's like always just like regular dialogue, but with a fisheye.
Or like the expository shot.
Yeah.
Big room, big wide angle.
Yeah, just to get the...
Yeah.
Right.
The one cool one, though, is when the buggy kind of goes by and it's super fisheye lens and then just...
Yeah, that's
across.
true.
That's a cool shot. But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Fisheye lens, what is this, 2009 fucking some video of guys skateboarding? Can't deal with that.
Maybe that's why we're so bored of it.
Yeah, maybe, eh?
It's, I guess,
Overall, good movies. You like them?
Yeah.
You guys are happy with them?
Yeah.
Very.
This has been the Monolith Films podcast. Thank you for listening.
Let us know your order. Order the films if you've seen them all. If you haven't seen them all, go watch them and then order them.
Leave a comment, you bozo.
If you're the first to comment first. Everyone else fucking does it on every other video, so...
If you want to suggest a movie, if you want us to watch a specific movie, if you want to let us know what you thought of the movies, you can always email us at monolithfilmclub@gmail.com. You can DM us on Instagram or Twitter. You can follow us there as well, Monolith Film Pod. We are now officially on Spotify, iTunes, and pretty much every other podcast platform. So take your pick.
If you like to reenact certain scenes from the movies, if you want to fuck your brother or something, you can take a video, send it in. We'll watch and review the video
We'll
of your
review that.
reenactment. Anything you want. You want to kill your kids and get some rabbits? It's up to you. Winner gets $5.
As usual in the podcast, we're going to give our guests email and home phone number.
God. We don't know what we're doing next week, eh?
No, we're going to do the Orson Welles.
Ah, yeah, we are.
2018.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Next week, Orson Welles. Won't be as big of an event as this one, but this was a little teaser for our season finale, which, stay tuned, is going to be a big one.
Whoa.
Yeah. That one's a surprise, though.
What is it?
It's a surprise, I just said
You
that.
can't tell us.
Well, maybe
While
off
we're
air.
recording.
So you'll edit it out.
Oh, that's a lot of work
More
for
work
Nick.
for me. Come on.
Nick, cut here.
All right,
Leave all
well,
this.
I mean, see you next week. Until then, watch some movies.